Good morning, everyone. I'm back in the library at last with the old sling on, and I'm with my old mate, the judge, who's kicked off his private service. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, fine, thank you, mate. Yeah, ready to go. Close shave yesterday, the old Abbey, but can't complain.
Yeah. Well, I think I could have ridden Il Toccata Tasso better than Frankie with one arm. But we won't talk about that ride. God bless him.
We won't. We're moving swiftly on.
We're here for another edition of Judge's Jewels, where we've got some horses to follow, and these have been banging in winners. So get the old trackers out, get your pens and paper out, and we're going to get straight into it. But I first must quickly mention Newmarket Max, 6 winners from the last 7 bets, including a 3-1 and 6-1. I don't need no hype to sell this. Follow the details at the top. You've got to email that email address with the word MAXBET in one word, and you will get sent the bet. It's £10, no win, no fee, so no hype need there. 6 from 7 to go again today. So follow the instructions at the top link. Now, Judge, it's going to be an exciting week. We got York, the finale, a meeting I always attend, but not always. So I won't be good. But I'm not one of these poor me merchants, of course. But if you do see me in the West London area on Friday and Saturday, and I look a bit dejected, don't ring the Samaritans. I will be fine. So big week ahead, all round HFC. I know you've got a big week planned for your new members, your club. But first, we're going to look back at some horses to follow. Now, I've got 2 from Ascot. I'll let you go first with your first one. Ascot was an interesting meeting because I think it was the signal of the start of what I call the autumn season. We're now into soft ground. You know, there may be the odd meeting that's run on some decent ground. There may be a couple of days, but I do think till the end of the season, it's the soft ground horses who will take sway after a very firm and fast summer. They get their opportunity. Now, what do you got first for us, Judge? What's your first jewel this week?
Yeah, I've got, funny enough, I've got 2 from Ascot myself. One from Friday, one from Saturday. But I'm afraid I'm going to have to go to the all-weather because I did put up a horse on the service. A horse called Rory that ran on Friday night. I think anyone could spot this, but I mean, it literally covered the whole of Newcastle and still nearly won. I know it is this sort of type that does need a fast pace, but what I like about this horse, it's only been on the all-weather now twice, and that it won on its first go, and it was particularly unlucky, obviously, on Friday. I wouldn't back it in like a small field if there's only like 5 or 6 runners, but if you've got like a double-digit field where there's going to be plenty of pace, this horse, for me, is got to win off its mark or near as damn it, because it was visually incredible. I mean, it's got outpaced to start off with and didn't go the pace, and then it just comes right on the bridle. And Paul Mulrennan went right, left, right. It was like doing the march, and then he couldn't get through. And it was flying at the end under a hand ride. So if you watch the horse back, it ran in the last race at Newcastle on Friday evening. It's got to be the first horse in my on the old Judge's Jewels. So it's Rory.
Could you see them going back to Newcastle? Obviously, there's endless meetings there.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, Newcastle will really suit because I don't know about you, it always feels like the longest furlong in history if you've got one in front there. It just takes forever. Yeah. And this horse will definitely be staying on strongly over the 5.
Yeah, it's one of Holden's golden 5 tracks. We've got our own Newcastle system. We've given so many big winners, and you know, I'll give you a clue. One of the things the system looks for is a stamina. You know, it is a very, very stiff, straight track. There's no doubt about that. And I agree with you. First, I mean, I watched all Newcastle meetings. I knew you had the bet. I watched the reruns.
It was smashed as well, wasn't it? It was absolutely cane. Went off 7-4 from about, I think it was even as big as 15-2 the night before. It was smashed into 7-4, so they knew they had a well-handicapped horse.
Yeah, and it's in form, and they're going to want the money back soon. This is going to be out soon, I suspect, back at Newcastle. And honestly, I think you should join in the gamble. And if you were on it, you got a chance to get your money back. If you weren't on it, you know, you got a chance to go to the wedding. You missed a funeral the other way.
Felt like a funeral, I did tell you.
Yeah, it did, yeah. So, Rory, I mean, unlucky loser, bad ride, chuck them all in, but winner waiting to happen. Now I'm going to go to the 225, the Cumberland Lodge. Now, interestingly, Newmarket Max is back today. This was the selection on Saturday. Hamish, the winner. That's not the eye catcher. Hamish is a very interesting high-class customer. Haggis has been on record and say that the horse's legs are like glass. He can only run really once or twice a year, and then he's put away. So they've got to get him right. Loves soft ground, ran a corker behind the horse who absolutely gagged up.
Yeah.
Kyprios. Now, it's interesting that this race was before Kyprios.
Yes.
Frank the Form. Had it been half an hour later, I think this Hamish would have gone off 3s on. So that was a real Newmarket match.
Yeah.
Released the night before. Everybody piled on at 6-4. That one. Now, I'm not suggesting any gerrymandering here, but Hamish is one of the stable stars. He was heavily backed all Friday night. He was ridden handily by Pat Dobbs, and he kicked on 2 out. Now, my eye catcher is also trained by William Haggis. Now, I'm not saying he told Stevie Donohoe, I want Hamish to win. Please, Mr. Haggis, if you're watching, do not get the lawyers out. I'm not saying that at all. But I just wonder if Mr. Donohoe didn't really want to spoil the Hamish party, because Pat Dobbs went straight at it. They didn't go crazy pace.
No.
You can't at Ascot on that slow ground. Cresta, the horse who was second, was the only other one for significant money. The Martin Mead horse, who I watched win really impressively at Windsor, but Hamish was a cut above him. But look out for him, Cresta. But he's the obvious one. I think Martin Mead will get him up again.
Cresta,
he did. He raced too keen, but they probably should have let him go earlier because Hamish got first run. But I think Hamish won Cosley.
Hamish would have beaten that one anyway. Yeah.
He could be, if he was sound, he could be a Group 1 performer. There's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah, in the same division, definitely.
Oh, yes. The third horse here, and the one I want people to look out for and getting your track up, was Candleford. Now, he only got beat 2 lengths. He's given them 6 lengths at the start. Now, Donohoe would argue he needed to settle him.
Switch him off.
Yeah, but they're switching off and switching off. Now, the race was won from the front pack. They went steady, then they went. Candleford had to cover a lot of ground. And if you watch the last 2 furlongs, the obvious thing is to say he's an eye catcher because he finished flying. That's not really what I'm putting him in for. If you watch when they quickened, he didn't. He held on to him as though he thought they'd gone too early. He then realised they hadn't. And again, I'm not saying any gerrymandering that he was told not to beat Hamish. I'm not saying that. But let's perhaps say it might have been something to do with that. But then when he did ask him, they'd already gone the front 2. So he went from being 4-6 lengths down to 8 lengths down. And they not only did they get a starting distance on him, but they actually kicked before he did. So that he's got 2 huge handicaps to overcome. And he only got beat 2 lengths.
Yeah.
Now, if he races Cresta again, I know Cresta would be 6-4 and he'd be 7-2. But I'd take him to beat Cresta next time. I'm not saying he would have beaten Hamish.
No.
He could have been, because Hamish had a lot left.
Yeah.
But he could have certainly bustled him up. And
he was the best horse in the race by far, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Haggis is going to want to get him out again this year. He's obviously in rude health. He goes on soft ground. He's a 4-year-old who's still improving. I think this is an exciting horse for next year.
Yes.
But I think he's going to be out again before the end of this flat season. I really, really do. And it wouldn't surprise me if he went globetrotting with this horse.
This horse obviously it's got a really good record at Ascot, and it won that handicap at the Royal meeting by miles. It won it too well, and it got chucked up. It doesn't run very well at Newmarket, because I think every time it's gone to Newmarket, it's run poorly. So obviously it really particularly likes Ascot, definitely. And it's the first time it's been on ground that soft as well. So maybe there was a little bit concerned about the going. But obviously it handles that now. But he literally made his headway stealthily, didn't he? I mean, the horse for me has got class. And like you say, he hasn't had a lot of runs.
And I think it could be a group horse.
It could be a group horse. Now, I think handicap's going to be out of the question. I think it's going to be quite near the top. Yeah. That's a bit unfortunate. I must be honest. It's sort of horse you could see winning an Ebor if he didn't get completely Muller, but I think now he's too good for that. He's even too good for that, if you know what I mean. But
yeah, I can see him being a cup horse for next year. But I do think they'll want to get him out again.
I think Kyprios is going to be particularly difficult to beat in that, but I think he could certainly be mopping up like the Group 2s and the races along Group 3s. He'd be roundabout. He's certainly an improving horse, and I like him, mate. Yeah, good shout.
Yeah. So Candleford for me, get him in the tracker and do watch those international races. He could be going all over this horse this winter.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Right, Judge, your second one, mate.
My second one is kind of little bit obvious, but I particularly like this horse, and I kind of want to give a couple of glorious mentions to a couple of horses who finished behind this horse. I like the run of Rohan on the Saturday. Oh, this horse travelled, and I mean, he just travelled and just picked them up having a cup of tea and biscuits. But he didn't just pick up a couple of horses there. The two horses who finished behind him, what lovely horses these two are. Summergand and Comanche Falls. They just run their race every single week. They both come first and second at York, both first and second in the big handicap at the Air Gold Cup a couple of weeks ago. These two are top class handicappers, and Rohan, funny enough, won the Wokingham. It's a top class handicapper, but it beat all these so-called group listed horses like they weren't good enough. The only time this horse has got beat at Ascot was in the race I'm going to tip him for, Anti-Post. I like this horse for the champion sprint. It was 5-1 to win the race last year. I can't see anything to beat this horse this year apart from himself, as long as he doesn't start too badly. He's got great course form, goes on any ground. There's going to be a big field in that, which is what he particularly likes. He likes loads of pace to run at. He should have the perfect setup. Rohan is my jewel, but I just want to give an honourable mention once again to Summergand and Comanche Falls. How consistent have they been this year, Simon?
Well, all three horses must be a dream to be involved in, because they run often. You can set your clock by them, and they win big pots, don't they? I mean, is there anti-post betting on that yet?
Yeah, I think he's about 5-1. He was 5-1 to win it last year. I think that's a fair price. I mean, you could probably wait on the day, but I genuinely think he won't be up the three. I mean, he's maybe one to beat him, but unless it's completely bottomless, which, funny enough, that meeting never normally is. It's normally soft, isn't it? But it's never normally completely unraceable.
That would put me off.
It wouldn't put me off too much, to be honest, but it does make it a little bit more of a lottery. I mean, that was pretty soft on Saturday. He just travelled on the snap. He just come.
That's what I mean.
He just joined in, you know.
Yeah. In fact, I'd want a repetition of that ground if I was back.
You're probably getting. You're not going to get fast ground now, are you? It's like you said earlier. So it's going to be on the soft side anyway.
Yeah. I mean, so Rohan. Yeah, I mean,
4 from 5 at Ascot side. 4 from 5.
Yeah, and it's only 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks away.
So we know he's in form, and these sprinters can run. You know, Evans.
Well, look at Summergand. He seems to run every week, didn't they? That's the turn.
They probably got him in a race on the motorway on the way home, probably.
That's right.
Now, my second one is still at Ascot on Saturday, and it's in the final race, or was in the final race, 4:45. The Peroni Nastro. They sponsored both days, Peroni. I bet there's some.
They did, yeah. Bet a few Peronis were stuck.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. 9 runners went to post. A class 2. It was won by Dream Composer. Actually, one going away, but I mean, you can pick them yourself. Tahib, who's a good sort of horse to handicap a race around. It seems to run his race. For Haggis was second. Equality was third. Charlie Hill's got his horses in screaming form, but they're not my eye catcher. The eye catcher was the Roger Teal horse, When the Deal Is Done, who I don't think was given a very good ride here at all. Basically went way too quick, too early, and everything that did finished nowhere. And if you look at the front two, let's look at the comments regarding the winner, Dream Composer, one going away. Held up. Good headway between horses. Let's look at the second, Tahib. Held up. Headway, final 2 furlongs. This was a race that collapsed. And when the deal is done, chased the pace. By now, the ground was getting very, very loose and very soft. And it's the second poor run in a row from When the Deal Is Done. Now, I've seen comments, the sort of experts saying things like, well, you see, you've got to look deeper if you want to make money on horse racing. You look at a race initially and you say things like, He didn't go on the ground, it was too soft. Nonsense. His last scene finished in the Portland where he was 13. The Teal yard actually won the race with Chipstead, but there was really good money for when the deal is done on the day here. Now let's look at how he ran there. So he was backed into 5-1 for a race like the Portland. Slowly away, always towards rear stand side. Tudhope, obviously, horse blew the start. Tudhope knows he's not going to win a Portland after blowing the start. He looked after him. Next time we go to Ascot, which was last Saturday, what do they do after missing the break? I can imagine Roger Teal getting into the young jockey, make sure he does not blow the start again. Well, he certainly didn't blow the start because he went ridiculously quick. So if we put a line through these two races, which I'm prepared to do, I've given the reasons why. Don't take my word for it. Look at the comments for the winner. You needed to be held up to win that race. It was a pace collapse race. They went far too fast. They didn't get home on the ground. The two jockeys that used their brains came through and fought out the finish. Now, he actually wasn't beaten that far. And he was clever. You know, the horse was good enough to still stay reasonably in touch. I'm putting a line through them. Let's look at the last time things went right for the horse. That was actually back at Ascot. And it was a slow time. There was plenty of dig in the ground this day. Yeah, course and distance, good to soft, good race, class 2, steadied at start, patiently ridden in last pair. Smooth headway between horses, quick into lead, entering final furlong, soon pushed clear. Now, he beat by 3 lengths. A horse called Many a Star was useful. There was horses like Dubai Station, Water of Leith, Blue de Vega. This was a good, solid Class 2 Ascot handicap. You're not going to get a weak one for the amount of money that was on offer. Now, he did go up £10. He
went up £10. That was quite high.
Yeah, but on the back of that, he was 5-1 for a Portland. Exactly. So it's clear to me that off that higher rating, Roger Teal and Connections, and they are far from a stupid yard, believed that he could be seriously competitive off that higher weight. Now, he will drop a little bit, but not a lot. You know, it's quick to go up, slow to come down type thing with these sprinters. Yeah. But I think if he drops to, say, 98, I think a lot of people now are going to put a line through this horse and think he's either badly handicapped or he's just out of form. And I don't believe either is true. I think, I'm not blaming Danny Tudhope, the horse blew the start himself. No chance. Let's forget the Portland. Saturday, again, no way he was going to keep that pace up. And I don't understand why they changed the tactics. And possibly because he blew the start at Donny, that the guy was told to get him out, and he's gone. Get him out. He's gone from the sublime to the ridiculous and gone and chased a silly pace. Now, I think Teal's going to want to get this horse out again sharpish. And it wouldn't surprise me if he's out in the next couple of weeks. And I think he's going to be a bigger price than he should be. And that's what we're looking for all the time. I think a lot of people are going to put a line through him and look elsewhere. Well, I'm not. I'm going to give this horse at least 2 more chances to show that he's the class act I think he is. He went off. Who knows? I don't know where they'll go. If it's a small conditions race near the end of the year, he might go a short price favourite, but I still think he'll be a bigger price wherever he goes. Will they look for one of the late season handicaps at Donny, somewhere like that? I don't know. But I think he's going to be a bigger price than he should be. And I'm going to back him. I'm going to give him 2 more chances. I'm not sure the lad who rode him on Saturday will retain the ride.
I'd like to have a quick chat about riding at Ascot. I'm a great believer in very rarely in a competitive handicap do you see made all there. Very rarely. You have a look once again, the race Escobar won. All the horses that rode up with the pace, which Safe Voyage was, after being held up back last time out. Same situation, actually, as what you were talking about. I mean, overdone in forward tactics. And you have a look, Escobar was last and Asjab was second last, halfway. And, you know, and they've come first and second. I'd rather my horse was given an over-exaggerated hold-up ride there than try to gun from the front. You just very rarely see anything make all in a handicap we're talking about, you know, a good handicap. You know, 5-runner race, they can instantly make all, but not these big handicaps. And I've also got to mention, did you see the ride Significantly was given in that race? What was he doing in that very race? He ended up in Ascot High Street. So, I mean, Yes,
Yeah,
the
I
jockey
did, yeah.
gave When the Dealing's Done not a greatest ride, but I have no idea what was going on with him. So he decided to explore the far side in about a 6-horse race.
I'm just looking for who rode significantly.
It was
SH
bizarre.
James. Yeah. Upsetting stalls, race centre.
Yeah, he was. He did. Yeah, he lost his race in the stalls, to be fair. But it was like if they run for a furlong, and he thought, you know, I'm going to go over there. And you think, why? So if you're going to do that, you've got to go from the stalls, isn't you? Really? But there we go.
Just to hit that point home significantly with a upsetting stalls, not as upset as people who backed him a bit.
No, like me.
The horse that finished plumb last, King of Stars, trained by Mick Appleby, ridden by Jason Watson. Listen to this one. Led.
Yeah.
Pushed along halfway. He didn't even get past halfway and he was knackered. Yeah.
King of Stars for me, if there was a 4 furlong race, I mean, probably the fastest 4 furlong horse nearly in the country. Certainly for it, he's very fast. Very good. But this is the wrong time of year for him now. Once again, get him on a sharper track 5 furlongs. The horse is very good. But not straight call to Ascot on heavy, soft, you know.
And that's the pace that mine chased.
Yeah, it just shows you. So I'm going to a sprint race for my last one, but it's on the Friday, and I think this is a particularly good handicap. This race, it was won by Lethal Nymph, he's actually progressing quite nicely as a 3-year-old. It's a 3-year-old handicap. I actually tipped up what's called Ali's Dancer, who does want it soft, and the rain didn't quite. Yeah, it came, but if you remember Friday, it came later. And he's just beginning to get in the ground at that particular stage. And Ali's Dancer and a horse called Aphelios came second and third in this particular race. But if you look at their previous run at York, they both finished second and third, also in a really good race at York, which we've spoken about on this channel before, which Lucky Man won. And that's actually produced several horses that have run very well since. Back in fourth this day, on Friday, was Honky Tonk Man, who's been running particularly well over 7 furlongs on the all-weather, which is hence why I'm going on to this, because I think he can go back on the all-weather. It's his first run on really soft ground. He blew the start, which actually is better than... He blew the start at Ascot. It's better than going too fast from the start. He was awkward at the start, and he made stealthy progress at the wrong part of the race, you know, between the 3 to the 2, you know, to 1 out. And he used a little bit too much horse. But he actually stayed on really well and only got nutted by a nose for third. And this is a particularly good handicap, I think. Once again, if you follow the horse's gene behind, Thunder Legend had absolutely bolted up at Newmarket the time before. That finished behind him. It's a good race, this. And I think you'll be getting 1 or 2 winners. Lethal Nymph is most progressive. But I thought Honky Tonk Man didn't have things go his way. Getting back on the all-weather, I mean, bearing in mind he'd been winning over 7, he was unlucky the time before. I do think a good sprint, once again at Newcastle, 6 furlongs, a stiff 6 furlongs. He's actually done well at Newcastle over 7, but I think this horse has got a little bit more in him. So Honky Tonk Man is my final one for this week's Jules.
A Rolling Stone classic. Yeah.
Hey.
The Honky Tonk. Right. So there you go, folks. Get these 5 in your tracker. I think, particularly this week, watch out quick, because I think some of these are going to be out again quick. Yeah. And certainly in the next couple of weeks, You want to strike while the iron's hot. We've tipped a few sprinters, so they're definitely going to be out again soon. Yeah, so there you go, folks. 5 horses for you to follow. Newmarket Max details, £10, no win, no fee. Text Max bet to the address below. You'll get the bet on bounce back. 6 of the last 7 have won. Right, Judge, have a great week, mate. I'll be speaking to you regularly, and we'll do it all again this week, maybe Wednesday, and then on Friday we will be back at our usual time for HH, the Judge. And Frankie, if I do pick you, please be a bit livelier, but there you go. So have a great week, everybody. Keep it HFT. Look out for the Judge, his Judge's Verdict private service. If you're not, we'll be contacting you about how you can get involved. Have a great week, Judge. Thanks a lot, mate. All the best, mate. Have a good one. Bang 'em in. Home of big priced winners. Well, what can I say? HOLDENS. Horses.